Hey, great to be with you, Jeff. Been a while, and thank you for wanting to discuss Nigeria. I've been there 4 times in the last 9 months, 19 times over the past 4 years. So, as you know, I do travel the world to the hot spots, to wherever Christians are being murdered or killed or persecuted. I go to 21 nations. And this year, 2025, I've had a special concentration because of all of what's going on in Nigeria. If you can imagine, this year, by the time we hit the end of 2025, Jeff, there will be 8,000 Christians, your sisters and brothers, my sisters and brothers, those watching, your sisters and brothers, all their only stance is that I love Jesus. So 8,000 will be murdered by machete because Boko Haram, the Fulani herdsmen, and the Islamic State West Africa province, those are who are in the process of Islamicizing Nigeria. They will not waste their bullets on the infidels, meaning Jeff, meaning Pastor Devlin, anyone who names the name of Jesus. And so this year, 8,000 will be killed. If you do the math, divide 365 and 8,000, you get 22 a day. And I get a
Wow.
text, pictures, email every day of the latest massacre in Nigeria.
So, does this, a few questions here for you, Pastor, and thank you for your work and for highlighting this. The leadership in that country, do they know what's going on? Are they doing anything about it, or are they part of the problem?
They are the problem, not part of, but the problem. The current Islamist jihadist government in Nigeria, headed up by President Tinubu and his predecessor, President Muhammad Buhari, they know exactly what's going on. And, you'll have the army, the federal Nigerian army, go into a village, make sure these farming villages don't have any weapons. And then 2 days later, Boko Haram comes in and machetes everybody to death. I was just in a village in April, Zika Village, Zike, 37 adults, 17 children, including a little baby. What they do is they go in, they cut off the ears of the children while they're being held in their mother's arms, and then they slit the throat, and then the child dies. But they allow the mother to live. Why is that? In order for her to carry on her sorrow of seeing her entire family wiped out for the rest of her life. So, yeah, not only the executive branch is in collusion with this murderous rampage that's been going on 10 years, 100,000 Christians
Right.
murdered, but also at the judiciary level, the Nigerian Supreme Court, where I was on March 7,
All right.
2025,
Well, let's talk about
and the
President Trump.
representative. Yeah.
He's talking about maybe going in there with guns ablazing, is what he said. Is that what it's going to take? Our military getting involved to stop this slaughter?
I support St. Augustine's just war theory that in order to protect the innocent, you have to kill the guilty. So if Trump does that, it's a great idea. Unfortunately, now, since Trump has issued the threat of naming Nigeria as a country of particular concern, now they're attacking even more to say to Trump and to America, oh, yeah, you're going to do that. Look what we're going to do. So now the killings have actually increased in the last 2 weeks. And, sadly, Jeff, this administration under Biden and then Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, they removed the country of particular concern designation from Nigeria. I and many others around the U.S. have been working for the last 4.5, even in this administration, redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. And unfortunately, it's taken 10 months for us to get the attention of Secretary of State Rubio and President Trump. It's been on Rubio's desk since they walked in the door in January.
I saw that in one of President Trump's posts that he wanted that designation for Nigeria.
Well, we hope. But what happened is during the government shutdown, he punted it to U.S. Congressman Riley Moore out of West Virginia. And Congressman Moore, get back to me with a report. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
this is as plain as the smile on my face that
Right.
everybody in D.C. knows about. So why did he punt? He needs to. President Trump need and love him, right? Needs to write an executive order and
Right.
say to Rubio, "Get in here. We're going to write the executive order designating Nigeria as a country of
I
particular
agree.
concern."
All right,
Yeah,
let's talk about one other controversy involving Christians being slaughtered, persecuted: Syria. We just
yeah.
had the Syrian, I guess, president, dictator, whatever, at the White House. There's a horrible track record of Christians being killed in his Syria under his leadership. Should we be welcoming that kind of a guy? He's a former Al Qaeda leader.
He's absolutely a former Al Qaeda leader, and I thought I was in Syria when he was there about 5 years ago as an Al Qaeda leader, and I'd been going through my notes. Did I run into this guy who's a disciple of the head of ISIS, Bakr al-Baghdadi, now in eternity? So I know that Trump likes to meet with these bad guys, these bad boys. However, when you meet with him, it's got to be met with conditions. In other words, you want to come into the Oval Office and meet with President Trump, then you've got to
Right.
stop the killing of Christians in Syria.
Right.
It's a major problem. And, you know, Syria used to be a majority Christian nation, but over the centuries, over the decades, back in the day when apostles Thaddeus and Bartholomew brought the gospel to Syria, now it's a Christian minority nation. How has that happened? Because of the murderous rampage of Islam. And so, yeah, when Trump meets with these folks, he needs to say, look, unless you stop killing of Christians, we're not going to take off the terrorist
Right.
designation from your nation. So there has to be not only a bark, but there has to be a bite from this administration, both from Trump and Rubio, and they have
Yeah.
the power to do it.
Well,
So that's what they should
we'll
do. So, and I
we'll
call
we'll
your viewers to pray for the folks in
yes.
Syria.